And although this is not really a new trend, the Biden administration accelerated it. Now, they are apparently keen on being as controlling and vindictive as possible while he's busy, sucking down ice cream cones. I don't know why it got so graphic in that. That was pretty disruptive for the children in the room. I hope you leave. But while they're busy, putting a show on and he's fallen asleep, they're actually still persecuting a specific group of people. And that's anyone that's involved in January 6th protests at the Capitol. Now, the government has brought the full weight of its power down on anyone remotely involved in that fateful day. In fact, there are individuals that I don't know, but people that don't even want to be known to have been there, that are so afraid of being outed. I don't know why. I have information, not that can lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, but who doesn't have information? In fact, the crimes committed that day could have been just being in the building. The fact that people can get probation. There's a guy who just tried to burn down a Minneapolis school in 2020, I believe, during the George Floyd riots, the BLM extremist riots. He got probation. He can sit at his home with Pornhub masturbation on his federally charged probation. Well, you can actually go to prison for multiple years for walking in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's what happened to our guests today. Now, the federal government has used every arm of the bureaucracy to persecute patriotic Americans. People who have never even entered the building have had their bank accounts seized, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and been brought before the January 6th Commission for questioning. Think about Alex Jones, or look at Nicholas J. Fuentes. Those that did manage to enter the Capitol, though, faced the possibility of years in prison and inhumane treatments from the feds. Now, many of these people never hurt anyone. They never vandalized anything. They didn't commit crimes. There's another individual who just, I believe, got probation as well for packing backpacks full of explosives during the BLM communist left-wing riots. Now, I'm not trying to be reactionary because I'm actually over it. I've been trying to get out of the Con Inc., right-wing saying. I've never been a conservative. I never probably will be a conservative. I'm sympathetic to the cause. But one thing that I hate more than anything is government overreach, is the deep state, and is the absolute totalitarian bullshit that we suffer through every day. Yeah, I'm pissed because life is retarded. It's not making any more sense. And while we're in the middle of one of the most serious breakdowns in our country's history, people are fighting about Lex Fridman's reading list. If you don't know who Lex Fridman is, you're probably living a good life. He has a few good guests, whatever. I don't care if you hate him. But the people are fighting over a man's book list on the internet. Retards, it's 2023, you're all still stupid. But there are people that we're forgetting about. While the right wing is infighting over DeSantis and Trump and Kanye West, there are people sitting in federal prison for 2 years awaiting a hearing. Literally 2 years. So if you think your life's bad, say your prayers, thank God, because God has enabled us and has empowered us right now in this day and age, not only to fight against evil and against the absolute dumb crap that is being spewed on the internet every day, but we can actually shine light while there are our brothers and our sisters. These are patriots. These are people who fought for this country that are locked up right now in inhumane conditions. And yeah, I don't understand what's going on with the Tate brothers and their arrest. I don't know if they're guilty. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not one to really believe random accusations of people, but we'll let the courts find out. We have people who have been in for 2 years. The Biden administration has chosen to make an example out of that day. And why? Because that day was the closest that they've ever been to losing control. I know. It's not really, I don't think I'm supposed to say that. Realistically, I don't think I'm supposed to say that. I think that's probably incorrect to put on the podcast. But it's damn true. It's a true statement. They're mad because the fragility of the United States government, which I believe they planned and plotted, was put on full display. And if you're out in places like I'm traveling right now, I'm working on my mobile studio, I'm getting jacked, I'm getting tanned, and I'm living my best life, but I'm in this mobile studio thinking, man, this country thinks that January 6th was the worst event in American history. I'm not joking. It has gone international. Now, they felt that the power that they wielded began to slip through their fingers, and they took it as a threat against everything they built in DC over the last several decades. They took it personally. This was their home. They never cared when your home was being burnt down. They didn't care when your life was in threat. They even laugh. If you ever watch the news, they laugh when you say that cities were burned down. I filmed cities being burned down, and people laugh at me. In fact, there's a whole bunch of commentators out there that have done jack shit, literally nothing with their lives except blabber on a camera like I'm doing now, who've never gone into the field, who have never risked their safety, and they're like, oh, I'm going to be a say-so in this movement. Go ahead. We don't have any room for more people like that. Our movement is led by a bunch of homosexuals, transsexuals, and feminists, and people sympathetic with the cause. Meanwhile, people that are actually fighting for Christian values, that are putting themselves out there, are literally rotting in jail, and nobody's talking about them because they don't want to touch that subject. It's much easier to complain about the Marvel universe, or, about why this other issue is important, and drag queens. Buddy, our friends are rotting in jail. Oh, but I don't want to touch that subject because it's too sensitive. Yeah, you're a bitch. You don't want to talk about real things. You'd rather talk about what's amicable, what makes sense. That's why they didn't want to talk about the vaccines. They never talk about the important stuff. They lull us with their propaganda just like the left wing does. I'm out. I'm done. I have no reason to not speak my mind anymore. I'm going to share the truth, and I'm never going to shy away. Because the government took this personally, and they've attacked me and my family, and they have no intentions of ever letting something like this happen again. So down comes the hammer of persecution on anyone remotely involved. Now, I don't even care to say I was in the Capitol that day. I was documenting, I was reporting on everything transpiring, and I, like so many others, have now become, and yeah, I will say it, a victim of government persecution and overreach. I spared myself because, of course, I have a credential, the same one that BBC, that New York Post, the New Yorker had, and the Biden administration, the DOJ, wasn't really keen on arresting people inside of the Capitol that, were their buddies, their cronies, their allies. So perhaps I got off on a technicality because I was working for a great institution at the time. I wasn't doing anything nefarious. I was doing my job. But the fact that people are going to prison, like rotting in jail without any hearing simply because they were in the same place. I mean, I don't want to use a credential as a way to justify their persecution. Screw that. Now, of course, what was my alleged crime? My alleged crime, as I mentioned earlier, that I found out they're spying on me, was simply that I was inside the Capitol and I took pictures of what I saw. So because I was a journalist and a reporter taking pictures of what I saw, I became an insight apparently for a large criminal investigation, which was leaked. Now, I've been on the subject of an FBI investigation for a while that was transferred now to the Department of Justice. And on top of that, they were spying on me the entire time. Now, Bank of America, we already know, handed over my bank records, my corporate bank records as well. I mean, they say about 87,000 IRS agents. They could just lift your records whenever they want. But most importantly, Facebook said they gave over all of my messages. But it was like, okay, well, I felt like they were wiretapping my phone. There were so many things wrong with it. But guess what? Apple lost a court case and had to release to me, or I guess it expired and they finally had to release to me the true evidence. Apple was handing over my personal iCloud, my access to my emails, to my iMessages, and all of my phone calls in real time to the FBI and to the DOJ to completely lift my data. And then what's even crazier about this is that in the records here, the FBI ordered Apple not to alert me that my privacy was being violated. So Apple has this clause that's like, oh, your personal, data is being wiretapped. We should let you know because there was a data breach by the criminals in the FBI. But no, they stayed a court order, handed over my data. Now, what's so maddening about this is I wouldn't care because obviously big tech is corrupt. And I know that we live in an absolute crap society that doesn't matter and doesn't care about the very basis of freedom and of liberty, except for the fact that during the San Bernardino shootings, remember the Islamic extremist terrorist attack where I believe maybe 10, 12 people were murdered, nothing big, not a big deal, right? Just a dozen people murdered and shot in what they tried to cover as a workplace anger shooting, but was really an Islamic extremist shooting. Don't forget that. They covered that one up very quickly. Apple wouldn't unlock the phone of the Islamic extremist shooter and wouldn't hand over the information to federal investigators. The government is predicting a war with China in 2027. That's kind of crazy. They're set to invade Taiwan. We're trying to exhaust Russia's military capability. But what does that mean for the banking system? It means it's unstable, and you've got to invest your savings, your retirement, your 401k, or that money that you have left over in the bank in a real investment strategy to gold and silver with my friends at Goldco. Goldco can help you right now transfer your retirement, your savings, any money that you have in the bank right now into gold and silver, which has gone up 1,000, 2,000% respectively over the decades, while the dollar has lost 90% of its value. Don't be a victim of crypto scams where you just get your money wiped out overnight. Actually invest in something and call my friends at Goldco who have a special offer for you at 855-242-4758. That's 855-242-4758. And click the link in the description, fill out the form, see what they can do for you and can help you outlast the crazy economy that we have. Call 855-242-4758. Find out how to get up to $10,000 right now of free silver. 855-242-4758 and click the link in the description. Don't forget to support our sponsors who support this show in a time where the bullshit is out of control.